So our leather has been drying overnight. And this is what it looks like. It's a lot more flexible than it was. Okay, our stitching for this portion should fall somewhere along this line. A little bit over 1/4 inch in from the edge. What I'm going to do is cut this from about here to here. I'm going to cut the middle right along this line. I've marked my knife where it's approximately how deep I need to go. Take your time. Don't try to get all the depth at once. Make several scoring passes. You start seeing this and peeling off. So as you can see the split of the leather. You want to be careful not to poke the knife onto the outside, even though this part came pretty close. And we've opened up a line for us to provide a stitch on this side. So I'm going to go ahead and finish the other side. This is ideally how you want to cut this. I decided to make a slight change to the shape of this. So with the blade sitting like this, I'm going to try to pull this out. If the thumb was up here, it's going to be a little bit awkward. So I'm going to cut this part a little shorter so I can get a better hold onto this edge here. This we just experiment and see what shape we like and what works. Most importantly, of course, it's got to be functional. I'm just going to skive this edge. It's a little easier, and this leather is going to be a lot softer, but you also have to cut more because it's going to be thicker. I think that's okay for now. Our next step is to shape this guy. Now the thing about leather is that it conforms with the shape of whatever we want it to, basically. So we're just going to encourage that a little bit for it to adopt the shape we want it to adopt. Do that. I'm just going to clamp these in between two pieces of board. I'm going to tilt this slightly so that the top will get less clamping pressure than the bottom. This is where the guard is, where the handle is going to go. So this step, we're just going to let it dry a little bit and encourage it to form the shape of the final product. So we're ready for our next step. This has been drying for actually 4 or 5 hours now, and it's still a little damp, which is fine. You can see this is starting to really take shape. So it's starting to look like what it's going to look like, I guess. At this point, I'm going to go ahead and create some space inside here, both for the blade and for the handle. I'm going to use a little V gouge, and I'm just going to gouge all the way down the center here. Just like our cutting, we're taking scoring cuts. Just gradually. This is going to reduce the stress of this bend. I'm also going to thin out this region where the handle is going to meet the blade. Got a little V gouge, this is a little round gouge. Okay, so I've gouged out this area, and the reason we do this is because this part is going to meet up with this side. We're going to conform this to this little bend here. So you can see just with some hand pressure, this is starting to take the shape of the knife itself. I'm going to skive or thin out this area here, and this is a place to clean up some of these edges. Okay, so we can't forget about our little belt loop. I've thinned out around the outside. So I've also marked 3 holes on each side. To do that, I'm just going to put a hole in the middle, here and here. my awl. I'm going to poke this thing from one side to the other. You see it popping out the other side. And while we're doing this, we want to apply a bit of wax on there. The wax has a special property in that it both functions as a lubricant as well as something that's going to lock in the stitch. Okay, I'm going to widen these hole up with a awl. Set this at a slight angle, 45-degree angle. Okay, and not even go all the way through. This is just to widen the hole up slightly so that I should get the thickness of the line through without having too much trouble. Last thing I'm going to do, like on this side, is I'm going to trim off some of this excess. So we're going to transfer this onto the knife sheath. So I'm going to position this right around where the blade and the handle meets. Okay, and then I'm just going to eyeball this and mark where these holes are supposed to be. Okay, so there are the holes on here. I'm going to go ahead and poke these through. So there are the 6 holes. 4 lined up here. So we're now prepared to stitch on the belt loop onto the sheath. First, needle goes through both layers, pull it through, pull it onto the other layer. And again, needle goes through 2 layers, and it's going to go through the 3rd layer. Pull it through. I'm going to pull this towards the back. I'm going to take this other needle, push it through carefully. Okay, this is at a slight awkward angle, but you get the point. And once you have the first stitch in, you want to pull this real tight. One side gets pulled through, the other side comes through like this. Alright, so I'm going to go back and lock these stitches down. Just push through. Okay, push through. One needle. I'm going to put the other side, stitch backwards through the same hole. And you will break needles this way, and that's okay. I'll just go ahead and do one more time through since I have the extra string. Cut it off here. I'm going to just tie it off. So I have a window right there. I got a fan over here to blow air towards the window, and I'm wearing a respirator mask. So that's a lot of good ventilation around. But the respirator mask has the organic filter on it because this has a lot of bad fumes, and just a little bit can really get you. I'm going to apply that from here all the way down to the bottom. So on both sides, apply a thin layer from here all the way down and around, and then I'm going to clamp it down. This is done. I'm going to clamp it. All these precautions just to don't breathe this stuff in. This is nasty, nasty stuff. I'm going to let this dry for a couple hours.